Hello, everyone. This is Enlightened Living with Truth and Oneness Discussions, where we
Oh
talk about
yeah.
stuff that we think is interesting to talk about whenever we feel like talking about new stuff. So, random stuff. But anyway, today, what are we talking about?
Human trafficking.
Yes, now, we keep saying like there's a whole. So, here's the thing with there's a lot going on in the world right now, and this is a really big thing that's going on that I don't know. Well, I guess. Well, here's the thing with it. It's like weird because, like, even like I'd say a few years ago, it's one of those things where you're like, this isn't happening. People can't like human traffic each other or like sell people for like organs and whatever, and like all that kind of yeah. You kind of, or at least was my approach to it when I was first hearing like little bits and pieces about it. But this is one of those things that people really need to know is happening in this world. You want to I lost my train of thought.
'Cause the thing about this is, obviously there wouldn't be a need for it if there wasn't people wanting this. It's like one of those
A
things.
need for
Yeah.
it.
Well, it's like a need in a bad way because like this is not
Supply
something
and demand.
exactly supply and demand. It's like this is not something that needs to be happening at all. But because there's like really disturbed people out there that do this kind of thing or like enjoy this kind of thing, that's why this whole human trafficking even exists. And yeah, like you're saying, it's like there's no way this kind of thing can happen. Like, how would you even go about doing something like this? And the thing is, like, it happens underneath people's noses all the time.
Yeah, it's like this is one of those things that it literally happens in your own backyard. From what research I've been doing lately about it and whatnot, and so as I first heard of this idea, maybe it was like 4 or 5 years ago. I don't know, right around our waking up time, our awakening time. But still, it was like this is not that big a thing, is it? Or like that maybe it's just adults because it's better, right? If it's just adults. But no, it's not, by the way. But and then you start hearing that they do this to kids too, and like there's countries where I was hearing about in I don't know if it's China where have people that they specifically use for organs that they keep in like this jail facility. I was like, that's no way that this is real, but this stuff is real, and this is one of those big, let's see, eye-opening things, veil-lifting things that's happening in our world right now that people, like I said, people need to be made aware of because otherwise it's just going to keep happening. And it's not like this is a new thing either. Obviously, human trafficking has been going on for who knows how many thousands of years, right? But you think, oh, we're in a civilized society where people don't do that kind of shit with each other. But as you said, it happens like right
All
under
the
your
time.
nose.
Yeah, it's like when you think about like these different pedophiles and stuff like that, and getting busted with like kid porn or like molestations, all those things, and like these kids are unknown. People are like, where these kids come from? Like, what the heck? How this happen? Like, wait, where are these people coming from? And one of the big ones, obviously, there's people that are doing kidnappings and different things like that. But another big one is like the foster care system. It sounds horrible, but it's actually very true. That's why it's like the kids in the foster care system are really highly likely to have physical and mental abuses and all types of other things. And like even in places like Illinois, they will investigate families that have like lots of young kids for malnutrition and stuff like that, which is really something you can't investigate someone on, like unless the kid is completely emaciated, like laying on the floor because they can't get up,
So
like
what you're
that.
saying that
It's a
they go.
scapegoat just to go and steal kids from people's
Okay, so you're
families.
saying the foster care system is set up to go in and take people's kids
Yes.
for these programs or whatever.
And one of the things that's kind of like disturbing about it is like this how it makes it really interesting because it's not through the state. Some of these foster care systems are actually private companies. And like everyone knows, like once you get in the foster care system, it's really hard to come back out of it or be reunited with your family. Ultimately, that's what it's supposed to be for, but a lot of times it doesn't happen. And once these kids get their time up, like that 18-year-old thing or whatever, they just kind of just vanish.
Yeah, and that's just a small, tiny
Yeah.
part of it. Like apparently the boys and girls clubs and any kind of club where they, take care of kids that are, orphans or whatever,
Boy
yada yada yada,
Scouts,
Boy
Girl
Scouts.
Scouts.
Um, random, just they just can just take kids. All these missing children's reports. This is likely linked to human trafficking. Then they also have. I saw this one woman's video. I'll post if I can find it again. I'll post it in the description. She's a survivor of human trafficking, and she kind of explains a lot. There's a lot of people who actually have videos out talking about their experiences in human trafficking that I think people really need to start to look into more. But they also have like underground systems where there's undocumented people, and they pretty much just have a whole like breeding ground for this this sort of thing. Um, it's really kind of low. It's low. It's like I don't know. It's one of those things where, like I said, you kind of like, is this really something that goes on in this world? And yes, it does. Okay, and it's going to continue going on unless everybody kind of wakes up to it. And I think that's kind of the whole point. It's kind of like when you have like an illness in the body and you need to take care of that illness, you can't just ignore and pretend like it's not there necessarily. And then when you find it, you can't just like blast it with a bunch of chemicals and like whatever, cut it out or whatever, because that's gonna harm the rest of the body.
Yeah, look for
And
the
it,
root cause.
yeah, and it may come back. Like tumors regrow all the time if you don't actually. You need to find the root cause of the problem. It's usually the whole system needs to be rebalanced. And this is like a whole healing thing for like the whole collective, right? It's not. It's a problem because we all allowed it to be a problem. It's not. This is not a finger pointing situation. Though I know you would want to probably point fingers and probably go do some things to some people, but it's one of those things where it's you know,
It's happening, and like they need to be aware so you can like kind of look out for it and stuff like that.
be aware and be a lookout for it, but also be aware. I think just being consciously aware of it, even because like people could ask, well, what can we do individually to like stop something like this? You can just be aware of it, and realize that it's not something that's allowed, even if you can't like actively do something. And there are like sites and like places where you can keep an eye out and all that kind of stuff where you can actually actively do stuff. But it's one of those things that it needs to be shown, very clearly to the world, in order for it to um, and handled, not like handled correctly, but like I said, it's think of it as a whole body system. How you deal with a real illness in a body, like say your foot is infected or something. I guess you could amputate it. I mean, yeah. I mean, if it's that badly infected, you could amputate it. I don't know, but I hope any people get where I'm going with this. It's like, just when we're thinking about things like this, it's hard to not like. It might be well. I don't know. Never mind. I'm like talking in circles now. Go ahead.
One of the things that always kind of bothered me about it is like even when in my college classes when they talked about human trafficking, a lot of times it's always brought up like sex workers or sex slaves and kind of things like that. And automatically, people when you think that you automatically think adults. But the thing is, like pedophilia and like even messing with like little babies and stuff like that is not something that is foreign to some of the people that are like. But so it's like people need to understand like the more the consciously awake people will all start to like realize this is not something they want in their society, these systems start to break down and we can start finding ways to stop all this stuff. And the thing is, then there's even in these stupid classes I was taking, they talk about like, oh, sex workers, all we have to do is just make sure they have like laws and everything in place, so that they'll be protected. It's like that's not going to protect people behind the scenes. Like that's the problem. It's like there's people that are like hidden in these places, and people are like, well, it can't be happening around me. But it's like, actually, if you look, even just as of a month ago in Aiken County in South Carolina, they have three different motels. Those cheap motels, some in random small podunk towns and stuff like that you guys see around, are very common places where they do sex trafficking. What they do, it's like commercial sex trafficking. Like they'll just pay for the person, and they have the room like set up, and there'll be someone watching it and hanging out there, guarding it, and like having people pay to come in and do these things. It's like, and they turn a blind eye to it, and because a lot of their excuses, they're getting paid, they don't need to watch their rooms or anything like that. But they're actually
You
there's
mean the owners of the
yeah
hotel?
the owners of the hotels. And the thing is, like, these hotels and motels and things are everywhere, and these places are very common places where they do this kind of stuff.
Oh, and let's talk about something else we just recently noticed. Like these trucker gas stations.
Oh yeah.
Um, like when you think about like some of the, and maybe we were just being paranoid. I don't know, but when you think of like some of these names like Come and Go, the Flying
Loves.
Loves gas station, Flying J, and the reason why I started getting really creeped out because we were traveling recently, and like I just noticed, and I don't know if it was Love's or one of these other big trucking gas stations, like where they have the showers that are ready for people, and yeah, I'm like listening, and they, oh gosh, yeah, and I was listening, and they're like, they have the showers. They announce the showers that are ready for customer number, whatever, whatever, and then they say these weird like, let me try that. It's like, customer number 24, your shower is ready. Have a fun, happy time, or like,
Yeah.
ready for some like fun, whatever.
Experience.
It's like creepy stuff, and then like I start thinking like, why are they saying this after like having for someone shower? That's like really creepy. And you're looking up something right now that's saying that yeah,
Yeah, there's
trucker
like
stops.
there's tons of things
There's
like
a
that.
lot of
There's like lawsuits going on for truck stops. There's lawsuits going on with truck stops and their sex trafficking. There's like a bunch of different articles written about it. Even like people's their own accounts
oh
talking
wow.
about like what it was like to be a sex worker or like one of those people at these truck stops.
So yeah, and that was something we were just kind of driving through, and we're like, wait, that's weird. Why? Looking at the truck stops and then the showers that they have, and then the like I was saying when they're announcing the showers and these weird sayings, things they would say like right after, like it, very very creepy. And yeah, so we just looked in a little bit more, and this is highly likely what's going on.
And another thing that's always been weird to me is like a lot of like weird, creepy gas stations and places like these travel truck stops, stuff like that. As soon as you walk into the male's bathroom, I don't know why they're there, but there's like condom dispensers and lube dispensers and horny goat weed and other stuff like that. I'm like, what the heck is this? Like, there's condoms inside the store, like, but then there's like all these single serving things, and I'm like, I understand that truckers might get lonely, but why at this place do they have single serving condoms like right there in the bathroom or like near the showers? I'm like, am I missing something here? And it becomes more apparent when you realize these places are known for sex trafficking and like that whatnot. It's like, oh, now I see that why that stuff is there.
Yeah, and that's weird because like I've never seen that any of the we go and take use the bathroom at the stops that we go to, and I've never seen this stuff in the female bathrooms. It was you when you told me this, I was like, what? Are you serious? That's disgusting. I mean, the thing is, okay, so yeah, adults, consenting adults, whatever, can do whatever the heck they want. They can go and be disgusting, and yes, I do call it disgusting, sleep around and whatever, but that's not what's going on here. And just by like trying to feel the situation out, that's not what's happening, especially these truck stops and whatever. And then knowing that obviously human trafficking is a big thing, um, and all these places are linked to it, and we can't like just pretend like they're not anymore. Like we really have to start like really like being aware of this, but at the same time, I'm like, well, what do we do about it? I'm kind of in that place where I'm like, well, what do we do now that we know? What do we what do we do?
And it becomes more apparent, and like now you see why you see like all these different truck stops or like way stations along the roads. What they're supposed to be kind of there for, it's more than just like let me check your cargo. They're also trying to see like if they are smuggling people and things like that. That's why it's like all this stuff is like really interesting because there's so many different ways that they.
So much more. There's like so
Yeah.
many like weaves to the there's so many like little layers and like avenues or like I don't know. It's all like connected. It's
Yeah, exactly. It's like that's why people need to like kind of pay attention. Like small towns, towns with like train tracks, towns with lots of truck stops and everything like that. Towns with like little motels. It's like be keep your eyes open and everything like that. And but these places are being investigated and these things are starting to like come to light and being breaking down. The
the
more aware people are becoming.
yeah, and the thing is, which is really sad about this stuff has been investigated, and because there's so many like higher up people involved in it, a lot of times these cases get thrown out and they aren't even looked at any further. And that's where awareness of people, humanity, everyone has to come in place, because if the world knew what was going on, then a case would actually go to the end. You know what I mean? But because people are unaware of it, it can get brushed under the rug so easily and continue to happen. And I was thinking too, yeah, this was probably like 20 or something years ago, with these little kitty modeling agency thingies that come to towns to try to find like the next, model for whatever. Um, this was an experience I had like I was 20 years ago or something, where they
They
come and
say
take your
Joe
picture.
Biden creepy kiss of the senator's young daughter. Did you ever see this? Like
No.
this is how you could tell. See it. This is one of those things where it's like you could tell there's some power players involved. I'm gonna show her a video real quick.
We'll link it in the description. Oh, that's creepy. I don't want to watch the rest of that. We'll link it in the
See,
description so people can. I see. We'll put it in the description.
and nobody stopped her
And
from
no
doing
one
that.
stopped him from doing it. Yeah, we'll add that to the description. Well, I'll put a couple of different videos. There's one girl's site. Her name is Wristflex. She's done a couple of good videos where she actually has people's personal, like investigators' actual accounts of what's happening. So it gives a really good, thorough background of like how deep this crap goes, and then like another person's personal account, and we'll post that video also that you just found
And
with Joe
that's Joe
Biden, and
Biden.
that's Joe
Yeah.
Biden, yeah. And that, yeah, tells you how high up this goes. Like, obviously, if you're anywhere, if you know anything at this time in like your life, you know that the Clintons are involved in this. A lot of these political people, but it's like everyone. They say police chiefs in town. Like, it's all over the place. It's so widespread. It's like so like it's like it's it's disgusting.
Yep. And that's why, like, if there's like quote unquote a prostitute, that's why they charge them like people with this stuff so quickly. Like, if a lady gets into this stuff, like even if it's not even by her own account, if like they're like, "Did you have sex for money?" It's like, well, I mean, they gave me like $1, I guess. Then they're like, "Oh, so you're a prostitute? All right, we're gonna mark you as a prostitute. You're never gonna be able to be like considered credible ever again, regardless of what happens to you. Moving on next." And like that's how like they'll get these people pretty much to disappear also, or become like quote unquote criminals because they no longer have rights when you're branded as something as such. So it's like it's a very disturbing system like that's has so many layers that protects the people that are doing this to others and like takes away the rights and the humanity of the people behind the scenes. It's like it's something that people really need to start being aware of and try to spread this awareness so it's like people can like help change things.
Yeah, and I still keep coming back to, well, what can the individual person do?
As a singular person, it's mostly just being aware because like you might be able to see some things happen, and you might be able to like help out somehow, some way. There's people in major cities that will actually drive vans around in dark alleys and go to different places and like they'll go and see like someone be like trying to run away or whatever. They'll like go to the places that they might be and they'll like snatch them up and help them like try to get out of the system.
Oh, so like vigilantes.
Yeah, they do it against without the law knowing about it. It's
Yeah,
very
because
interesting.
like the weird thing, well, I think it's all part of just the conscious awakening of the world that's happening right now. Um, and it'll catch on the more each individual person. I know our channel is not that big, meaning like not very many people listen to it, but even if a couple of people listen to it and spread it around, the information around, that's fine with me. Because it just needs to come to light. Basically, you have to shine the light on the darkness, and then that's what, you know, what do you call it? Makes it go away.
Yes.
Anyway, but yeah, I was saying that these child modeling agencies. I don't
Oh
know if they
yeah,
still do that now, but
they
this
do.
was okay. Where they come to towns and like do the pictures for your put tons of makeup on your little kid, take pictures, and they call them back to these like you know model agencies type places and call the groups that they were picked or whatever. Like, I have a very high, at least the experience I went through with it. I thinking back now, even then I thought it was really creepy. And thinking back now, yeah, that's child trafficking going on right there.
advertising like those kids dance shows where like they're dressing their kids up in like bikinis and stuff.
Oh yeah, any kind of like with toddlers and tiaras, like
Yeah.
this stuff is creepy, you guys. Like it really is creepy when you really start thinking
They're
about
trying
it.
to
Okay.
normalize it through. They're trying to make it a normal thing through the media, even though a lot of people watching, they're like, "This is really disturbing," but they're trying to desensitize to people to it and like have them buy into it.
Yeah. I don't know. You have any other comments about this whole thing?
No, this one's a little disturbing.
It's a little disturbing. Yeah, like you said, especially when you have. I mean, I think it's disturbing anyway, but I think when you have young children yourself, it just reminds you when you think about it, like the just how disturbing it can be. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense. I'm not trying to say that people who have kids are, or any special treatment toward them. I'm just saying that you see it. You can see just how disturbing it is when you see right in front of you the potential victims of these, every day. I don't even know if that made any sense.
No, it does because the thing is like at least when you get to teenager to adult, like you might be able to defend yourself in some way. Like these kids, like they don't even know what to do, like or anything. Because there's, I mean, what is a little child gonna do against a full-grown adult or multiple full-grown adults? Absolutely nothing. That's why people need to be aware and actually like let this start to become a thing. Let the light start shining around so all this stuff starts to fall apart. It is starting to fall apart now, but like more people do need to be aware. Like, don't just be like, well, it's not happening to me, so I don't care. Like, no, you do need to care. You do have to think about it.
Hmm.
It's not one of those things where it's like, oh, look at the poor cows getting killed or whatever. It's like, no, this is one of those things where it's like this is happening all over the place, and it's very horrible. Like, this is something that we all need to be aware of. And know that change is the only way that, like, positive change and us all coming together, that's the only way things can get better.
Yeah, that's a start, at least. All right, so if our video was too confusing, we were all over the place too much, you can just go to the description box and watch those videos I post there because those are pretty straightforward.
Yes.
And yeah, I guess that's it. What is it? What do you want? What's the saying for the day?
Uh, After that one, be a good person. Don't get involved in that kind of stuff.
Be a good person. Be aware of what's going on in your world. Strive to make yourself conscious of things, even things that you think may not be happening or too like dark to venture into. Like I said, the only way you can not heal the darkness, but like um, you have to shine the light in the darkness to kind of like bring things to the surface to let them kind of blow away, if that makes any sense. But okay, yeah, everyone have a good time, and hope you enjoyed the discussion. And look at the videos in the description, share it with people, just so people can become aware of it. And have a good day, everyone.
Oh, yeah.